Hey y'all, it's your girl V, and you're tuning into the Think Yourself Better podcast. You know that we do all things mindset here, so you can think yourself better. I have a special guest with me today now, y'all. This is gonna be a good show. We'll see. This is my brother from another mother. He's actually my husband's best friend, who I have stolen. And I'm gonna let him introduce himself, okay, y'all? And then we'll get started. So tell people who you are.
Okay, so I am Charlton, and I do photography, and I shoot under Charming Charlton. So I've been doing it about 18 years. I kind of built a brand. A couple of people know me. So, yeah.
Okay, so he wants to play modest. You know, he wants to play modest on camera, but he is, I would say, if not the one of the most popular photographers here in the city. You know, we're in Houston, the best city that there is. And he shot more than a couple of people. So we're gonna talk to him today. We have a really, really special podcast because we don't have regular people on this show. So everybody who comes to the show has to have a spirit of resilience. And if other than myself, I'm gonna talk about anybody who has a spirit of resilience, I would have to say that you do. Okay. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. I'm gonna let you tell the people your story and everything. I'm gonna be extra nice to him today. This will be the last day of his life that I'm ever this nice to him. But we're gonna jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about, for real, like some of the people that you shot, some of the projects you've worked on, and then tell us a little bit about your story. Before you do that, today we're going to talk about, this episode will be titled um, Entrepreneur versus the Chronic. And we're not talking about the chronic, we're talking about a chronic illness, y'all. Right. And so we're going to talk about how he has been able to maneuver and build a successful, I will call him a celebrity photographer. He definitely is one, with the illness that he's going to talk about and how he's just done this. Like, you're looking at him, you wouldn't know, okay? But I want him to talk a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay, sure. I feel like from the very beginning, from the time I even graduated high school, going way back, I kind of got bit by the entrepreneur bug, thanks to some close friends. Real close. But I kind of got bit by the entrepreneurship bug. Photography wasn't the first thing that I tried.
Right.
Tried a lot of different things. I always had an artistic background. So graphic design was one of the first things I did coming straight out of high school. I was good with my hands and creating art and seeing details. Maybe that was there, maybe that wasn't there. Or just being able to expand on something small and make it into something bigger.
Right.
But that definitely led me into graphic design. And from there, did that for a few years and it was good. I would say that I've never been really afraid to suck at something, so to speak. Like, if I thought about it, I'm going to try it.
So wait a minute. Expand on that. You've never been afraid to suck at something. What does that mean?
I think a lot of times, like, we can be afraid to just step out and try something because we feel like we already need to be great at it.
Okay. You came to spit a little game today?
A little bit. I'm not going to waste your time, but we always want to be great at something, and that's what we all want. But the reality is, you have to start somewhere. You can't start at the top. So I always had that embedded in me, just from even just sports in high school and everything. I knew I had a starting place, and I knew it was going to be a journey to get there. So with the graphic design, I always had an approach of, let me just see how it feels. Let me try it. And it was good. But I later found that, you know what? I think I want to do music production. I always had a love for music. Just growing up in a black home, we
Good old music.
Good old music. So, and I loved R&B. So that was the first thing I started to produce. But you should know that because we've gotten in lab together.
Yes, we have.
So I did that. I felt like that was the thing I wanted to do with my life, right? This is everything. It felt like everything to me. And it was something that I couldn't wait to get home from work when I was working in corporate, to sit down, just get on those keys and play. But what I did learn once I started was that you know, it was something sometimes when I was going through things or when I had a lot on my mind, I would have this block. It was hard for me to get past. I couldn't produce things the way I wanted. And, you know, as I say, anything you're doing to pay the bills or for a career is going to bring some stress. But what I learned about trying that is that this is not something that I want to be stressful. It's a hobby.
You wanted to enjoy it. You didn't want to make it work.
So even though all the elders are saying, "Hey, you're missing your calling. You should be,"
because you were very good,
because we always missing our calling.
Right.
And they see you do it, and they say he's such a natural. It seems easy for him, but just that little thing, just that little stress that I was putting on music was enough to make me walk away from it.
You stopped enjoying it, like, you know, having a good time.
I didn't want to take that away from me. So it wasn't until I got into photography by going to a studio with a certain someone randomly. I tell everyone I never wanted to be a photographer. I never thought once about it, not even a second about it, until we walked into that studio and I saw that artwork on the wall. And I think what impressed me the most about it is that seeing who was producing it, it was a young Black man that looked like me, dressed like me. And honestly, I had never seen that representation before.
Right.
So I was more so shocked at who was producing it, that level of work. It was that Vogue level, high-end stuff. And typically, I'm just being honest, what I usually see is not someone that looked like me. But the entire team was young and
looked
Black,
like us.
Looked like us.
Young Black adults. Definitely.
Okay, I think I want to do this.
I remember that. Yeah.
So I went home. I started studying for 6 months. I got all the books, all the videos. I put in hours. I didn't shoot anything for 6 months, even though I had a camera. But it was all about just digesting all of the information I could until finally I started shooting.
Okay. So at what point did you kind of feel like, okay, I'm not just taking pictures, like this is something bigger? Because, like, let's be frank, like you said, you try different things. And I think a lot of people get nervous, like they're like, I gotta be great at this. But really, we were young.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out what your thing is. And photography stuck for some reason, right? So, like, what was it, or like, what was the moment, or when did you realize, okay, this ain't just pictures, like, this is something different. This is bigger than that.
I think once I started, and at that time, I still had a full-time job. There was a pivotal moment where I was trying to feel like, I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. I was turning down clientele because I was at work. And so I was thinking at that time that corporate job was stressful. But they told me that at the interview. And they didn't lie, by the way. So I was trying to decide, is it time? And I always say I had never really like challenged God to see what he could do, what he would do, what I should be doing. So I had said at that moment, okay, I'm turning down gigs, but I see the business coming in. I see the brand is building. People are recognizing me. So at that point, I decided, okay, I'm going to test them. So I say it was the smartest decision and the dumbest decision I ever made because I was not prepared financially to leave that job.
Okay.
But I was at that point to where, like, it's now or never. So I remember just sitting there for a few seconds. I rolled back in that computer chair. I left everything where it was, and I just went for it.
Okay. Now listen. Other than me, because I just know you just love shooting me. He really doesn't, because I am horrible in front of the camera. I like to get in and out. Okay.
That's true.
But you shot. I know who my favorite person is that you shot. You shot some like big names. You've worked on some big projects. Who? First of all, tell us who are some of the people that you shot.
Okay, so some of the people that I've worked with, I worked with Megan Thee Stallion. I worked with her
my absolute favorite.
A good 6 years.
My absolute favorite.
Definitely one of my favorites as well. I've worked with Kiati Brown from 93.7, formerly 97.9 The Box. and pretty much their whole staff.
Mm-hmm.
So that is good as well. I've worked with a lot of the top hair brands.
Mm-hmm.
Some local, some people flying in.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as other brands, I would say 300 record label, Rock Nation, Puma, Essence Magazine, just to name a few.
All right, you ain't got. But no, I know you have. You've worked with a lot, and I'm gonna put you on the spot. I know you don't like doing this, but who was your absolute favorite? If you had to pick one,
I hope this doesn't get me beat up.
right?
But if I had to pick one, and it's really, really hard.
Right, because you love your clients, like, and not just your celebrity clients.
That's right.
Let's make that clear. But if you had to pick a celebrity client that you just thoroughly, and it's not even about favorites, but you thoroughly enjoyed working with them, who would it be?
I think I would have to say, I would say Megan Thee Stallion, just because of the close relationship we would have, even with her and her mom, Lady Mom, rest in peace. But it was really, really tight knit on set. Even though, you know, at that time she was one of my biggest clients, and you know, her mom and herself, they made sure I was there. Like they did not play about.
Good people.
But she is the type of person I would say that it never really felt like I was working with a celebrity, and she never treated anyone like that, anyone on set. And that's what I like, because that's how I am as well. I want to make sure people are taken care of. And I thought that was really dope.
You're cool or whatever. You really are. You
a little bit.
Yeah. Ugly but cool. No.
Wow.
That's good. You ain't that ugly. But take that out. No, but okay. So we talked about your celebrity clients. I like to always ask you, what's your favorite type of thing to photograph, or be your favorite type of, you know, you've done everything. You've done bridal, you've done, I think I know what your favorite is, but you've done some of everything. What do you mostly like to do?
It's only right I'll let you guess and then answer.
I'm gonna guess that it's maternity, because first of all, I guess because it's my favorite. But I think it's just the way you have this. It's a different kind of. It's something different about the way you shoot it that I thoroughly enjoy, which makes me think that it's your favorite.
You are absolutely right. And a lot of people are super surprised when I tell them that, because most people would think, oh, you get to work with celebrities, so that's automatically your favorite. Not necessarily, but because I would group that in just portrait photography in general. Like all of it is portrait photography. But I would have to say, if I were to line up in just each genre, all of the maternity, all of the celebrity and music artists, all of the family, I think if I were to line up those shoots, I think maternity would take the dub.
Yeah.
Just from the sheer creativity, I get to pour into it. And I don't know why, but I just love it. There's just something about helping someone or capturing someone come into the next chapter of their life. But I always love doing it, and they love me shooting it. So,
so okay, now to the nitty gritty. So you like in your prime shooting. Everybody knows who you are in the city. I can't ever bring you up. So you doing your thing, you shooting, you building your business, and then you get sick. What happened?
You're right. It definitely was at the peak of my career. Like everything was going up, everything was moving faster. I'm hitting new goals, not even just financially, but even in the skill of the work that I put out. But it was so strange, because at that time I was very, very active in fitness. I was putting in about 30 to 40 miles a week. Clean diet, I'm eating vegan, and I'm thinking around 2020, I get sick and I think I have the flu like everybody else. That was COVID before it was COVID. So I'm thinking I have the flu, and I just realized I've been sick a long time, just longer than the flu. And it was just so much going on. I felt so bad, and just not even being able to physically do what I needed to do. Mentally, it was draining on me, to the point that I think I kind of slipped into like a depression. So much so that I woke up and looked in the mirror and I physically didn't recognize him. I had lost so much weight. And just being an entrepreneur and just working so hard, it's not a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. Putting in 15, 16 hours a day, I really didn't even have time to focus on a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to get to the next level. So I woke up and realized that, and immediately I'm like, okay, I need to call an ambulance or something. I need to get some help. Mm-hmm. Like, I could just physically see it on me. And then I was just struggling to breathe. It was just so much going on that day. And it was funny because I called an ambulance to get them to take me. At that time, they really refused me. And it was just so much going on with COVID that when they actually left, that's when I literally almost suffocated. Couldn't even catch a single breath. And so they ended up having to come back out again and they take me. And I end up being in the hospital for 3 months. Tell me about it.
And we were going.
It was.
Faces don't cry.
I know. It was rough.
Okay. So you in the hospital, you're trying to figure out. And for me, I know that 18 years old. So for me, when things happen, one of the first things I think about, other people might not think about this, but as an entrepreneur, the first thing I'm thinking about is, okay, my business.
Yeah.
My money. Yeah. This is how Tim and I see our family. Like, what are we going to do, right? And so even in the midst of trying to figure out life, a lot of times, like when a situation arises, we have to think about the fact that we have businesses to run. You know, I remember having times of like I feed other people. Like, I can't lose my business.
Right.
So what's going through your mind? What are you thinking?
At that time, I would say that I'm someone that's big on staying true to my word and not letting people down. I might have thousands of clients, but even just letting one down and not being able to deliver, that really is going to affect me mentally. Right. So having to, during that 3 month, call people and tell him we're not going to be able to finish your engagement session, or I'm not going to be able to deliver your maternity pictures right now. And having to call all of these people and work it out and make calls to friends and say, hey, I need you to get in my email. I need you to reach out to these people. I can't do it right now. It was tough because I got to give credit to the people that were understanding. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people weren't. Yeah. They did not care. I understand you almost died, but
I need my photo.
Yeah. Who's going to refund me? Right. What are we going to do about that? And it was a lot of that, I lost a lot of clientele that I had for years. So just being in that process, I'd have to say just what I was dealing with in the hospital, not being able to have visitors or family for 3 months. It was a lot of praying that, everything would work out. But I can say that rise that I was on, that financial rise that I was on, it's what literally helped me get through it. Mm-hmm. Had it not been so great on what the financials was doing before that period, being at the peak of my career, then I probably wouldn't have been able to make it, because not only just going through the hospital for 3 months, I had to recover for 6 months. I physically had to learn how to walk again. Mm-hmm. I had lost that much muscle. I was just so weak that sitting up in this chair right now, talking to you, it would have been a workout. So.
Right. So I know you on a personal level to, in your mind, look like a victim. You don't want people to think that you are, that you don't have it together. So I remember when you first posted about needing your kidney transplant, right?
Yeah.
It was a shock for everybody, all of your followers, and even us that are close to you, because we don't do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So talk about that. Like, you literally, I watched you come from dialysis. I've watched you shoot. I've watched you, work long days. What is it that keeps you going? And you say, okay, listen, I can do this. I mean, because you're shooting sometimes for hours and hours and hours at a time.
Right.
Right. So what in your mind? What keeps you going? What is it like? What is it that you got? Superpower? What
honestly, it's definitely not a superpower, but I will say, like, my faith is what even allows me to get up and go through it. Like, I talk to myself all the time, even just trying to get back to a fraction of myself this morning out running 2 miles. And I say a fraction because I cannot do it like I did in 2020. But literally praying through the process for the strength to even do it, that's what even allows me to get up and go to work and do it. You know, it's sometimes even when I'm there and I'm working and I'm like, okay, let me step out and go into the other studio and sit down for a second, catch my breath, get a drink of water, and then turn this back on because it's like, okay, I want everybody to have this good experience. We don't want them to see the fatigue. We don't want them to know like it's not a good day. So I would say just constantly having a relationship with God, talking to myself, pushing myself through it, motivating myself, and just being able to do this to support the people I love.
Right.
I like for my family and my friends to be able to hit me up and say, hey, let me pick your brain. Hey, this is what I want to do. Can you help me? Hey, I need you here. Can you do this? I like to take care of myself physically, eat the way I'm supposed to, drink the way I'm supposed to, exercise so that when it's time to get up and move, I can.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. If you had to think about a time when you were at the lowest, where if you were going to give up, this would have been the time. You don't have to lost my vision. He couldn't see. And was still shooting. I was still shooting. I'm like, how was he still putting out this work and the man can't see? I couldn't see what the camera was capturing, but I just knew my stuff. I knew myself and I trusted what I was doing was what I needed to. That moment, like, it was really tough, but it was like, okay. It was like, you should get your vision back. Not necessarily. You may. Like, okay. Yeah, I'm a photographer. So, like baby see, I like that. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to get a photographer. Can't speak. Right. But again, I just trust the process. I did everything I was supposed to do. I showed up, trusted that these hands, this brain, knew exactly what to do. All right now. So as we come to a close, I want you to tell us about, or if anybody is an entrepreneur watching and they're dealing with illness or they're dealing with a struggle, what advice give to that person? What would you say to them? What I would say to if you're going through something physical and you're wondering if you should even try because maybe you feel like you can't perform at a level that someone else can. I would say stop focus on DeShai and focus on each individual step by step. Like they say, you can't eat a whole pizza in one bite, a whole egg in one bite. You have to take it bite by bite. If you're consistent, you'll get there. When you can't, when you're not motivated, be consistent. Wake up every day. Show up every day. One thing I tell all my friends is that something way wrong. You probably been the one that nobody's in there sometimes. For some reason, so. But they open, they open every single day. And you gotta show up for yourself. You gotta wake up, you gotta put your shoes on, open the blinds, thank God for it today, and go to work. But as much as you go to work, take the time to rest and check in with yourself. Congratulate yourself on the small stuff. Sometimes you're gonna say, hey, I made it. I got platinum selling record. But you should have been right for that first time. Because you can't get to platinum without first being. You've been my favorite so far, you know. There's this guy, you know, I'm trying to get him to come on my show. If you happen to talk to him, I think he's your best friend. See if he'll come talk to me. I think that you two are amazing. Your stories are amazing. I haven't been asking you to do this. And you did it for me, so I appreciate you. And you guys, thank you for tuning in. This has been your girl B, and you have been tuning in to Think Yourself Better podcast. We are all about mindset.